We could learn more about yet another police shooting in Albuquerque.
What we do know is that police tell us the officer involved is a 12-year veteran with the department and that this is his first officer-involved shooting. This happened Saturday night at a home at Ventana Ranch West. Police were called at around noon after the wife of 50-year-old Armand Martin made a 911 call saying that he had pulled a gun on them. The SWAT team was called out. Soon after that, police say CIT trained sergeant and negotiators tried to reason with Martin, but apparently he would not cooperate. About 6 hours later, police say Martin began shooting at officers from the top floor of his home. An hour later, police say Martin confronted officers.
The suspect exited through the front door, actively shooting with 2 handguns.
Martin died at the scene. Police say 2 guns were found next to Martin's body. Another handgun was found inside the home. Of course, we will stay on top of all of the developments from this latest officer-involved shooting. You can get them also on our website anytime, KRQE.com. Dueling resolutions to determine how a police chief is brought into office are scheduled to be discussed during the Albuquerque City Council meeting tonight.
Yeah, one plan calls for the City Council to approve the police chief as the mayor picks it right now, and another for voters to elect a police chief. News 13's Samantha McDonald is at City Hall. Good morning, Sam. Give us the details.
Good morning, Matt. Well, in light of the recent Department of Justice report criticizing APD, some councilors want to see a change in how the city's police chief gets hired, and that will be discussed here tonight. Councilor Ray Garduno's bill would let the voters decide in November if the city police chief should be an elected position. Councilor Brad Winter and Council President Ken Sanchez say a better idea is to require City Council advice and approval on the selection of a police chief. That option would also go to voters in November.
At least you have 9 city councilors that can debate and look to confirm the position.
And rather than dwell on how do we get rid of a bad person, let's make sure that we get a good person to begin with.
Neither Winter nor Garduno believes either one of their resolutions would affect current police chief Gordon Eden. Back to you.
All right, thank you for the update, Samantha. Councilor Winter says the resolutions could go through, be deferred, or just flat out fail, depending on how many votes there are. Garduno says his plan would likely be deferred, but he does want to make sure there's plenty of time for people to fully understand it. Of course, we'll be at the meeting tonight. We'll have the latest later on KRQE and anytime at KRQE.com. Also today, more Albuquerque police officers are going through an extended crisis intervention training.
That's right. The DOJ came down hard on APD for a string of deadly shootings that involved the mentally ill. And the hope is that this training will help when it comes to dealing with those types of situations. Now, the first group of APD officers to go through this extended crisis intervention training since last month's DOJ report graduated on Friday. The week-long training put the class in simulated situations with people suffering from a whole range of problems. After each scenario, officers got direct feedback on how to handle it.
It's very practical. You can spend a lot of time reading about mental health diagnoses and how things might play out in the field, but what's really great about this class is that you actually get to put that into practice.
Only about a quarter of APD officers have extended crisis intervention training. 35 were in this course. The man who spent a week behind bars for throwing a lit cigarette onto a busy Albuquerque street is finally free. An anonymous donor ponied up the $5 needed to bond out Brandon Ambergay. This whole thing started in the week before last when an APD officer responded to a call that a man was loitering at the McDonald's on Lomas and Broadway. When the officer asked Ambergay to put out his cigarette, Ambergay threw it onto the street. The cost of keeping him in jail was nearly $500. Police won't say why Ambergay, who has a history of mental health problems, was arrested for such a minor offense.
A state police officer who was already suspended from the force is in trouble again this morning for putting a repo man in a chokehold. Check this out.
Charles, let him go, Charles! Charles, let him go!
All right, this is cell phone video shot by the repo man's wife. The man in the headlock was trying to repossess state police officer Charles Vernier's Nissan Xterra at an apartment complex in Los Lunas. Vernier, who is 6'5", says the repo man shoved him. The repo man says he did not do that. When Los Lunas police showed up, the video shows Vernier bolting and then tripping. Here is his explanation for it all.
I was walking away from you and you used an excessive amount of force. You were walking away. I was walking.
Vernier was arrested on aggravated battery and interfering with police charges. We found out he was already on paid suspension from state police because they're investigating to see if Officer Vernier is mentally competent to be a police officer. State Police Chief B. Caseta says they're investigating this chokehold incident and, quote, will not tolerate this type of behavior.
Bernalillo County deputies are still trying to find the man they say is involved in a deadly shooting in Albuquerque from over the weekend. Deputies were called out to the 800 block of Gatewood near Bridge and 5 Points Saturday night after reports of shots fired. When they arrived, deputies say 44-year-old Manuel Perea was found dead. Deputies are looking for 35-year-old Jesse Luna. Luna has several active felony warrants, including one for homicide connected to Saturday's incident.
Well, federal investigators are still trying to find out what caused a search and rescue helicopter to go down in Colorado this weekend. Everyone who was on the chopper is okay, thank goodness. On Saturday, it was looking for Robert Blake, an elderly man from Corrales who was out cross-country skiing in southern Colorado and never made it home. Searchers hiking in the mountains eventually found his body and say it looks like he died from natural causes.